Welcome back to Combust Astrology. My name's Liv. Let's go ahead and get into the full moon for November 15th, 2024, 4:28:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so let's take a look at this chart. In case you don't know, a full moon is when the moon is opposing the sun in astrology. The moon here being Taurus and the sun being Scorpio. Here's the sun, and here's the moon. Okay, give me a moment to fully take this in. Okay, so Pluto, we have, okay, cool. All right. All right, so we'll start off with the moon since it's the pivotal point. So moon is your emotions, the way you feel, and Uranus is honestly chaos, but it's reform, it's change, it's something that's not preceded to be seen. So when we combine these two, it's kind of like, I'm gonna say change. Change on a very big level and or upset, right? That could be another form of it. But both of them are together in Venus. Venus being Taurus here. Venus is both Taurus and also Libra. Where's Libra? Am I blind? Oh, yeah. We got only Lilith in Libra. Nothing else is really going on in its sixth house, so it's change to self. Okay. Going based off this rising, it would be a self change due to just receiving news that kind of is of an upset. But the moon and Uranus together is truly something that's like, wow, I did not see that coming at all. It's going to be on the 15th. So you want to look at where you have Taurus in your chart and that house, if you know your birth time being, and then you can get that with your rising. It'll be something that's like, oh wow, okay, that kind of sucks. That changes everything, but we will prevail. I do think that you'll be able to take it with the chin up with that Mars and Leo, just because the pride there would be like, you're not gonna tell me how to succeed. That trine to the North Node in Aries is like, you know what, this is actually a good thing for me because nothing's really gonna stop me. The one thing that it will do is kind of come back and say like Mercury and Sag has been running its mouth and a whole bunch of things being said, and it's like Mercury and Sag, when I look at it being in the quote unquote fallen position, I think one thing that really does away with it is that it talks too much. It can manifest, it can really get what it wants, but it talks too much. So it loses a little bit of finesse because it's overdoing it at times. Um, and one way of also looking at that is that Sagittarius can over exaggerate. When it's in Mercury, it's like we're talking some big talk, but it's like Saturn in Pisces is coming in and it's like, okay, but let's see it. You know, this is like saying my my partner does XYZ 24/7, and then when you look at your partner, it's like the collective is like, okay, but show us receipts, right? That's what this square would kind of represent. Now, if we step back from that for a little bit and we look at Venus, Venus just freshly got into Capricorn, I think on the 11th or 12th. Venus and Taurus, sorry, Venus and Capricorn. It's it's kind of here. It's like, all right, what's the long-term thing we want to get through this winter? And it's squaring the North Node and the South Node, and that square to the nose is kind of saying like, hey, uh, when you have Capricorn and Venus, it's about your set of values, your perception to what makes you feel good, being structure based, being very fundamental, next steps, moving forward. And squaring the nodes here looks like, hey, I really want this thing aggressively for myself, but also like I'm not about to stick my neck out for this more than I need to, right? Especially when it comes with love and your sense of love. If we go based on this chart, the descendant being Scorpio, you really kind of pulled here to be like, how does this make me look? In conjunct to the Mars in Leo, it really is like, what's the image of this? What's the brand gonna look like if I do this, right? If I take this step or if I'm going through this process, how are people gonna perceive me in my social circle? But how does this affect me in my own mental subconscious? Last but not least, we got two more actually. Pluto in Capricorn is trining Uranus. Man, this Pluto in Capricorn really did it this month. If you know what I mean. A lot of people were kind of shocked with some of the outcomes, and a lot of relationships kind of ended there because the Pluto opposing the late degrees of Mars, and Mars is going to retrograde soon, but the trine to the Uranus as it conjuncts the moon, it's a really big puppy right here. You really want to think about this because this aspect, Pluto is lighting up this big planet, right? That's not anything new because it's been trining for a while, but it's the fact that it conjuncts the moon. So it highly emphasizes your safety net with Venus. And Venus being in Capricorn, the ruler of the moon currently, well, not of the moon, of Taurus being in Capricorn is like, hey, this thing that you thought was really stable that was supposed to happen is not. And we have to go back and kind of look at ourself and see what we need. And then that's the squares to the nodes that's saying, hey, I really want you to understand that best case scenario, you got to choose to do what works for you, right? How do we look in front of everyone right now? Things used to look peaceful and balanced, and now it's looking like we're going to have to push for ourselves. So this is really a tough conversation, right? If I do read this chart in its entirety and I delineate it from the rising, then it's like now it's like, okay, this is probably something with others, a contract, a business idea, a point of view, marriage, and you're just like, hey, like you've been saying all these things, or I've been saying all these things, and now the square is saying like I need the receipts because I'm looking silly right now. We have Jupiter opposing the Mercury. And that Jupiter opposing the Mercury is really like, hey, um, we've been talking. Where are the receipts? Like, it really helps with the receipts aspect because Mercury Jupiter now is so mental. It's like, I remember 2 years ago on the month of February at XYZ day, I had this as a goal or dream. Where is that now? Right? This chart is really introspective and reflective. I know it seems like it could be very actionable, but the action is an outcome, or it's going to be an outcome. And it's very much a reflective state of mind, right? Because you're kind of jumping through, I hate the idea of saying portal, but you're jumping through a current reality and you're trying to get to another. When a very shocking, traumatic thing happens in life, that's when you rebrand. That's when you really move. That's when you really change. And with Uranus being in the 10th house, it could affect the career, but I look at it like the way that you want to move forward, is kind of like, yeah, let's move forward. If you're planning your year, this would be a good day to do it because this would be so emotionally, I feel like as a Scorpio, this would be so emotionally jarring that you'd be like, burn the bridges, we're starting anew. And that's kind of what this is. Like, if you get told that you have a fatal diagnostic to something, um, you're probably going to drastically change your life because you want to live. But that's how this kind of feels. If you don't change so sharp, right? If you don't do that pivot, then it's like it doesn't feel good. And it doesn't feel good now, but it definitely won't feel good in the future. And if you want to feel good because Moon and Taurus want stability above all else, I know a few, they cherish that peace and that food and that comfort and money. It's not going to be good. So hopefully you enjoyed. One last thing I will cover is how, all right, I think it's obvious who got elected, and we kind of want to see how that transit is going to affect our future president. Let me look at his chart. Let's take a look here. Let's pull it up. I'm hoping this is accurate. So we know what we know about this chart, right? Let's go ahead and try to pull this side by side here. What the? Okay. Oh, yay. All right. So what do we have? Hold on. Can I pull this like this? Oops. Did I just move my recording screen? I think I did. I think I did. Okay, there we go. All right. So, all right, cool. We're gonna take a look at this. Okay, let's look at his chart. Let's kind of see what we got here. Is this his actual A-rated birth time? I don't know. Is it? No, I don't think we know. All right, cool. Moving forward, we obviously want to see how big transits affect us and our future president. Let's see. Mars is going to conjunct Pluto. Cancer, second. Sun, Uranus. It's being very reflective. Oh, oh. Yeah, this is why I wanted to look at it. Okay, I'm remembering now. Okay, Moon and Uranus is going to be on his midheaven, directly on his midheaven, right? Jupiter is going to be, it's kind of conjunct all these placements right now, which is really helpful um, for him. But it is kind of like a revision of history. I think Mercury's going to be getting really close to his moon, and then what else? Pluto and Capricorn is in his fifth. It's going to be opposing the late degrees of Cancer. It's been opposing that actually. Venus is also entering Capricorn. I wonder what happens here. Scorpio is going to be in the 24th, so the Sun is going to be opposing his midheaven as Moon and Uranus conjunct his midheaven. I wonder what happens. I think, let's just make a prediction because why not? I feel like we're going to find out something shocking, right? The astrology says we're going to find out something shocking about his career. Give it like 2 or 3 days, but it's like, I don't know. I wonder. It would be really interesting if like we find out um, some sort of thing about the election and then realizing that there was sabotage or he can't actually be the president because of that moon Taurus, like if he gets arrested or something, like that would be really interesting to kind of see going based off of the astrology. Um, I'm politically just like I'm neutral, so I'm not really putting my politics in here. But with him being the future president, I was kind of curious because he's the future president and also the image now moving forward for Pluto in Aquarius, especially for America's Sibley Pluto return. So, yeah. And if you're still watching, let's look at America's Sibley chart as well while we have some of that time. And let's look at it with the equal house system. That's what I'm going to use. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, let's see here. Where is... All right, 27 degree moon in Aquarius. So Uranus The degrees are going to be pretty similar, but where is Taurus? Taurus is in the sixth, and Moon and Uranus are going to be in the sixth, so it's everyday things. That's where this event is going to happen. Okay. There's no significant thing there where Scorpio, Scorpio's in the 12th, the way that we're thinking. Yeah, I don't see anything significant here. Besides the degree of the moon being like really close, and the fact that it's Uranus with the, like that, moon Uranus, right? With the degrees. I don't see anything extremely like, whoa, you know. Venus in Capricorn. Venus is kind of conjuncting the Pluto pretty soon for America, and then Mercury is on the rising. Ah, that probably also explains why we're literally everywhere. Like, I understand the election, but yeah, USA is like the focal point of everything right now. Mars is about to go over the North Node, further enhancing the spotlight. Dang. America's gonna have its Uranus return to everything soon? Uh, wow. Okay. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, especially this little part at the end here, and have a great full moon.